So I'm going to be discussing another virtue in Confucianism, or basically classical Confucianism, which comes from the teachings of Confucius via the Analects. The Analects is just like a compilation of sayings that was put together after Confucius died. So we're gonna talk about the virtue of Li. Li has to do with rites and rituals and morality and just moral norms. There are rites or traditional rituals or moral norms that are to be observed, whether it's a government or a just human relationships between community or just family. And rites or Li, we have animality, which is just like you live by your instincts or urges, which is like almost like a machinic thing. It's like it just happens. It's instinct. The Li that humans have is supposed to get away from that, to transcend that sort of animality. So Li kind of gives you the idea of how to be a good person of high moral character, of high moral refinement. Refined people need to learn cultivation and rites and observe those things, or they need to learn cultures and rites and all the different norms that are being observed. And to observe rites, to observe all the rites that are in place, is developing into humaneness, or Ren. Or Ren is a very difficult thing to kind of translate from Chinese into English. The Chinese character of Ren. Oops. Sorry. So, in a way, this is a virtue ethic. He has a system of virtue ethics in a way, because you look at all these rites and norms that are in place, and you try to live by those and observe those things. However, through self-cultivation, or haoshui, and Li, you learn. And you don't just learn education. You learn in different ways. And while I do the video on self cultivation, or haoshui, that's when we'll kind of talk about the whole learning. Learning is what learning is, and basically this is a virtue ethics in a way, that because virtue ethics is that you observe certain virtues and try to live by those, and you use practical wisdom. That's the kind of Western Aristotelian way of looking at virtue ethics, and you sort of cultivate in a way. I like how this is. I like the idea of haoshui, or cultivation, because you cultivate yourself, and that's how you can move towards Ren, or humaneness, or compassion, or benevolence. There's many ways of saying what Ren is, but Li is just like the moral norms put in place that you must observe if you want to be a person of high moral character. And Confucius did say that between dynasties, every dynasty, between dynasties, there were different moral norms that were in place. Given any one dynasty, there's one set of moral norms, and that changed from dynasty to dynasty. However, he was not a relativist. He wasn't somebody who said that morality is relative to culture and society and location. He did believe in some sort of absolute morality, even though it did change between dynasties. So then we have the virtue of righteousness, or yi. That's moral refinement. Use of appropriate conduct of a righteous being. You're of righteous being if you are observing that virtue. People are disciplined by rites, by a lack of candor or politeness. You can, to be disciplined, and you observe those rites, you are of the correct character that is expected of you, given a certain given certain norms that are in place. And observing rites is two things. It's a change of inner being, and it's a change of spiritual being, and that's kind of where the whole self-transformation that is kind of a part of this whole Confucianism thing starts. It starts with Li and ends in Ren. Starts with Li, and you change through Hao Shui, and ends in Ren. Rites govern higher society, but they also govern all aspects of life. There's no part of life where there are no rites. There's always rites, rites, rituals or norms that are always in place in all parts of life. So that's kind of the whole virtue of Li. There are, if you don't observe some certain rites, you will be perceived as having a lack of candor, or being impolite, or of lesser moral character. So that's where the whole thing starts. Now I'm going to be doing videos on Ren and Hao Shui, and we'll kind of be understanding more of what this whole ethical system of Confucius is.